Okay, guys, thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. Amber had said that two things that she wanted me to kind of talk about is duplication and closing the deal. So I'm going to start with duplication. And I want to tell you, I actually have kind of a love-hate relationship with the word duplication. I don't fully think that everything is duplicatable in Plexus. It's one of those things that you hear that term thrown out a lot, like you want to be duplicatable and you want to, it's just one of those coin terms that you hear. And I think that some things are going to be very duplicatable that you do, and some things are not. So what I want to kind of talk about is what is, what's not, and how to know the difference between those. There are some very obvious things that are like sharing on Facebook, having a team page, like as your team gets bigger, you know, sharing files, making files, phone calls. That's something that is very, very duplicatable. That's very underused. You know, three-way calls with prospects in your upline or with a new member on your team in your upline. So those are some things that are duplicatable. But what I want to say, ask you is, do you have a set program that works for your team that's actually something that is duplicatable for everyone and is going to also yield the same results for everyone? And that's the tricky part, because there are some things we can all duplicate. We can all post on Facebook, but not everyone is going to get the same results. And what you want to do is find a system that actually does yield results for everybody that follows that system. So there are three things that makes like the ideal perfect ambassador, and that is having an amazing testimony, having a large network before Plexus that isn't, you know, Plexus ambassadors, and having an influence over that network. Like, does your network listen to you? Do they is what you say going to make an influence on them? Now, these things are not duplicatable, though, is the downside. So you can tell everybody, you know, share on Facebook, but if you don't have, you know, a great testimony and a large network or an influence on your network, your posting on Facebook may not do anything for you. And so if you find somebody with these three things, you have like the trifecta. And honestly, I had this when I started. I lost 15 pounds real fast. I had over 1,000 Facebook friends when I started, and they trusted me, so I was always into health. So it's almost like you luck out if you have those things. But what we want to do is have people have the same results that I have had without those things. And it can be done. It really can. And so, and to keep people from getting discouraged if they think, oh, well, I don't have this great story, or I don't have this big network, it doesn't mean that you can't be successful in this. So it's taken me a long time to figure this out. I think in the beginning, I just started by telling everybody, just post on Facebook, it's going to happen and work, because it's what it did for me. And learning that that's not always the case. And so first thing that I want to say that's very important to duplicate is what you do when you get a new ambassador on your team. And in the beginning, I just sent them a long welcome email. I attached 800 files, and I expected them to like run with it. Like, here you go. And you have people like Amber, she was one. You have people on your team who will take that and they will eat it up and they will run with it. But the majority of your people are going to see that and they're going to be like, I'm not going to read this. Some won't even open the email, you know? And so you need to make sure you're finding a way that you catch these new ambassadors when they join. They're up here, they're super excited. Catch them in that moment of excitement and give them the training they need. A phone call is usually the easiest, most effective way. You know, as soon as they join, pick up the phone and call them and tell them, you know, go call your mom and your dad and your best friend and your sister and tell them what you're doing, because those are the first people that you want to contact. And those are typically the last people contact instead. And I don't know why. Like, if you started any other business, they would be the first people you would tell. So do this the exact same way, because you want to do this business with your best friend and your sister. I mean, it's so much more fun doing it with those people that you do life with. And so go call them up, go tell them what you're doing, go talk them into it, you know. That's going to be the first thing you're going to want to do. So, and for some people, phone calls might be a little bit more difficult and it might be out of your comfort zone, but it takes practice. It really does. If you're not going to do that, make sure you're staying in very close contact with that new ambassador for that first 30 days, checking in on them, walking them through things. I'll even help maybe buy a couple samples that they can use. Just make sure you're in close contact with those people. And so another thing that is you're going to want to do is have them make a list, you know, outside of just those initial loved ones. Make sure they're making a list of people that they know could benefit from Plexus, or else they would love to have in their team. We all have, you know, what we call a dream team of people in our minds who we would love to have under us. Make sure you help your new ambassador do that also and build their dream team in their mind. Consistency is another duplication thing that is so important. And by consistent, I mean consistent daily activity. So make sure you choose a set amount of time and tell your new people when you're on the phone with them or when you're talking to them, you decide how much you want to work this business. Decide whether that's going to be 15 minutes a day or an hour a day. Whatever it is, choose that and do that every single day, because you're going to yield so much better results if you're working daily than if you have one day that you work for 10 hours and then you do nothing for 3 weeks. That's not what you want. We want consistent daily activity. Make sure that, and daily activity is not just posting on Facebook. It's not scrolling through the team page and saying welcome, which we love those things too, but that's not income producing activity. So make sure what you're doing is actually income producing. Are you reaching out to new people to tell them about Plexus? Are you following up with prospects and customers? Are you training somebody new on your team? You want to be doing actual income producing activity during those amount of time that you allotted. Sometimes I even have to shut down Facebook when I'm doing my work. Even though I do the most of my work on Facebook, it sounds so counterproductive, but sometimes I do, because it's so easy to get caught up in your feed, and I'll go to train somebody or to do something, and the next thing I know, I'm just scrolling through my Facebook wall. And so so make sure that during your work time it is income producing. Now here is where my love-hate relationship with duplication comes into play, because we all have different talents and we all have different skills and we all learn very differently. And you're going to have to meet each person on your team where they're at and what their learning technique is and what their skill set is. One person may be a reader and you may be able to send them files and they may be a self-doer and they may read it and they may run with it. Well, another person may need to talk on the phone and they may need lots of hand holding and they may be calling you every single day for the first 30 days. And you're like, don't you know this already? But some people, they need more, TLC in the beginning on what to do. You really have to get a feel, though, for each person's best form of learning. And you also need to figure out their skills. I really like to find out, what is your talent? What are you good at? And really encourage them to use that as their number one tool in their business. So for some people, that's going to be going out and talking to people about Plexus in public. Some people really have the skill of just approaching a stranger and telling them about the products. Where another person is just a really good networker. They're really good at getting to know people and meet people and hear about their past, and then Facebook friending them and then they learn about Plexus through Facebook. Somebody may be an amazing public speaker. If they are, really encouraging them to do opportunity meetings. So it's finding each person's skill and having them hone in on that skill set that they have to work their business. And there are some things. Not everybody is going to be a grand host to opportunity meetings, and that's okay. You can be a diamond ambassador and not run large events. Now, you might need to have to get out of your comfort zone and share your testimony, but you're not having to run these events on a monthly basis if that's not what your skill set is. So I think it's kind of with duplication. It's having a set system that you do with your new ambassadors and that you train them to do with their new ambassadors. Those are the things that we want to be duplicatable. And then the non-duplicatable things are finding your skills and finding your team's skills and really honing in on who you are and using your talents in your business. Now, the other thing that we talked about was closing the deal. So for me, this seems to be one of the easiest things. And I think because I keep it simple and I make it easy. don't ever, I want to tell you, and this is just for me, people, at least me, and I know a lot of people I know, when they decide they want to make a purchase, it's usually a very spontaneous decision, and they want to do it right now. And so if you have somebody coming to you about Plexus, I want you to assume they are ready to order right now. So first thing you want to do is make sure they have your website. Make sure that you don't hold out on them with your website. I always start with, here's my website, and then I'll ask a question. You know, what are you interested in? You know, are you wanting to lose weight, or are you just looking for health? Are you wanting to join the business? So ask them like that so that they know how to answer. I gave them 3 options there. Which one do you want? And then when they say what they want, say, I'm wanting to lose weight. I answer them in very affirming, positive words as if they already have committed. Oh, you're going to lose so much weight in the products. You're going to love it. You know, like, you're just going to love our products. And I'm so excited that you're going to try it, because I'm already assuming this is happening. You're going to try it. And that's usually almost always how I talk to them whenever I do have prospects come to me. And I don't, when people ask me what Plexus is, I don't give them long, convoluted answers. Again, I did in the beginning, and I lost a lot of people because I sent them, you know, like a huge Facebook text and they couldn't even scroll through to the bottom because it's got all the scientific explanation. They just want to know, does it taste good? You know, am I going to spit it out when is it a meal replacement? You know, they really usually, they don't want to know the science behind it. You know, every now and then you might have one, and they're going to be very specific when they ask you to, if they do. They're going to say, does this have XYZ ingredient, and does it have GMOs? And, you know, you get someone asking you specific keywords, you know, they probably want the science. But if they just say, what is Plexus? They probably want to know, is it a meal replacement? Does it taste good? Will I lose weight? Will I feel better? You know, this is all they want to know. And so give them that information in very easy, very positive ways. Make sure you make it easy for them to purchase. When they ask how to purchase, again, with purchasing, I always assume if they're going to be a customer, they're going to be preferred. I don't even say the word retail. I just say, if you order preferred, it's going to be cheaper. So they know there's another option. I don't say retail. I just say it's going to be cheaper. You're going to be on a monthly automatic thing, but you can log into your back office and cancel it. So you're not stuck. It's not a contract. So just mark it on your calendar. Order preferred so you can get the discount. Mark it on your calendar so you'll know if you want to cancel it next month. And almost all my customers preferred, because again, I don't even say retail. So just, again, with closing the deal, always ask questions too. Every time you respond back to them, you want to keep that ball going back and forth. So if I say, what you're looking for, are you wanting to lose weight, health, the business? They say, I want to lose weight. I'll say, I'll find a way to say, great, maybe you could try, are you wanting something with a stimulant, or are you wanting something, do you have any other health issues maybe that you want to go along with weight loss? Because you're trying to troubleshoot here to figure out what, combination you want to get them, but you never want to stop a conversation dead. So if you don't respond with the question, they tend to not respond back to you. So, and then if you forget and they don't respond, come back in an hour later and ask them a question. Think of a question, because you want to keep that ball going. And that's pretty much the things that I have done with closing the deal. So now I want to open it up to y'all and see if any of you have any questions on what we covered tonight. Steve, I'm glad you hopped on. You missed the first part, but we got it recorded, so you can catch it in a little bit.
All right, thank you.
Christy, Amber, y'all have any questions?
I think so. We covered pretty much everything I wanted to know.
Well, I'm glad y'all hopped on tonight. And like I said, I have it recorded, so I will send Amber the recording as soon as I get it downloaded. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.